This episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake Podcast.
So you ready for Christmas?
I think so. Kind of.
You know, I was so bummed out this year, Chrissy, because I felt like there were so many local markets that were going on all around town. And I feel like I didn't get to take advantage of as many of them as I would have liked.
Yeah, I know. This year flew by too fast.
You know, and I was really excited. They did the winter market every Saturday down at the Rio Grande. It was really cool, the Trolley Square market with the local market that they did at Trolley Square. I mean, there was a lot of local markets for people to take advantage of this year. Hopefully a lot of people took advantage of it this year with keeping money local.
Yeah, and all I told you is for Christmas I wanted locally made stuff.
Yeah.
And I really do.
I want a necklace, Chris. I want all this stuff.
More jewelry.
More jewelry. Hey, you know what? Luckily, there is a lot of local jewelry makers here in Salt Lake City.
Heck yeah. Amazing ones.
A lot of really good ones. Hey, let's welcome everybody out today to episode 308 of I Am Salt Lake Podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Hollifield.
Today on the podcast, we get to sit down and chat with Jason Moffat. He is the owner and founder of Rustic Tomato. We get to find out his story, what inspired him to start up the local chili sauce company. We actually ran into Jason at one of the downtown farmers markets, speaking of local markets. And that's where we got to try out the chili sauce, the salsa that he makes. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chrissy, we got to bring him on the podcast.
Yeah.
And have him share his story.
And I get why he made this stuff his life, because it is delicious.
Oh my gosh. And just the other night, we tried some with my mom.
We ate the whole container, didn't we?
Oh, every time.
Like in one sitting?
Every time I sit down, I'm just like, I eat the whole container in one sitting.
Good.
It's like candy.
It really, oh my gosh, the original.
We're going to get into that story here in just a second with Jason, so hang tight. Hey, do you have an event coming up that you need a photographer? Are you a local business and you need pictures for your products? We want to invite you to check out the work of local Salt Lake City photographer Amanda DeWolf. You could check out her work, get in touch with her, order prints directly on her website, amandakmemories.com. Again, that website is amandakmemories.com. All right, Chrissy, let's jump into that conversation that we had with Jason Moffat when he came over to our office and shared his story. I'm really excited to play that here.
I want to eat some of the chili sauce while we listen.
Hey, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Enjoy. If you had less than 30 seconds to tell me about yourself, Jason, what would you tell me?
About myself?
Yeah. How would you describe yourself, what you're up to? 30-second, the elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. I've worked on that, but I haven't perfected it. So I think I would probably say that I'm one who likes to create and one that likes to make a difference. I've told myself probably back in high school time frame, one of my goals is to make somebody smile every day. So I like to kind of create and then help people be happy, but at the same time do a little bit of good in the world too. And so I think that's where it kind of led to this business, also to what I do with work, and then also kind of with the family life and enjoying what I do and the hobbies that we have.
Do you consider it a win if you make yourself smile on a day that's hard for you?
That's a good question. I think so, because I'm just like anybody else.
Yeah.
And, if I'm not happy, how am I going to make somebody else happy?
True.
Where'd you grow up? Did you grow up here in Salt Lake City area, or where's home for you, Jason?
Yeah, Salt Lake. So went to West High School and grew up here pretty much all my youth, and then graduated from high school and then started life from there.
Awesome. When you were a kid, like, what did you want to be? We all had that ambition as a kid growing up, right? Like when I was a young kid, I wanted to be a police officer. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
So I wanted to be something so exciting. I think I was an attorney.
Really?
Yeah.
You wanted to be an attorney?
Well, my mom worked for a law firm.
Okay.
And so I just got really excited about the research and the libraries and being able to find answers and being able to craft, answers to problems. And so that was it. But my dad was really into airplanes and loved airplanes and had his private license. And so he kind of was steering me that way a little bit. I remember in elementary school, I put up a poster on the chalkboard of a cockpit to an airplane. And then I played on our old record player, the LP type, the sound of an airplane starting up and starting to take off. And so I asked the teacher if I could take our class on a flight.
Oh,
so I put that up there and then did the flight and acted like I was the pilot. And so I think a pilot, I also wanted to be a pilot, which I achieved. And, so seeing the airplanes in the air and, being mesmerized by hundreds of thousands of pounds taken off in the air.
So you're a pilot now.
I flew with the military.
Okay.
I'm in the Air National Guard and flew with them for about 10 years.
Like you flew the planes.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that scary? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I know that sounds like
I'm scared.
A junior question. Like, oh, is it scary? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there's got to be some like nervousness there.
I think you can hit both spectrums.
Sure.
Bliss and then hair-raising white knuckle moments. But I tell people, I said it's the best corner office you could have.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Do you still fly to this day? Do you still fly airplanes?
I moved into intelligence, and so I don't fly actively with them. But we flew the KC-135. It's a big gray airplane that refuels other planes in the air. That's the plane that we flew.
Wow.
So,
man, what's your favorite type of airplane? I don't know much about airplanes, but what's your favorite airplane to fly?
You could say anything, and
I have a friend who's a pilot, so I can ask that question.
She wouldn't even know.
She wouldn't know if I flew
it's
the space shuttle, right?
QR-52. That's
that would sound impressive.
Right. I could have went the fighter track. I could have went the heavy track, and in the end, the KC-135 is a heavy aircraft. It's modeled after one of the big commercial planes, and I loved it. It was a crew concept, so you get to work together, and then at the same time you get to do some tactical stuff, some cool things. So crossing the pond overseas to be able to do local stuff, and then to have another airplane come up behind you and you give gas in the air at 400 miles an hour, 30,000 feet in the air. It's amazing that people came up with that.
So people are fueling airplanes in the sky.
In the sky.
He's a floating gas station.
Floating gas station. All I am is a gas station attendant. in the air, maybe.
Glorified
bit
gas
better
station
than
attendant.
7-Eleven,
Yeah, right,
a little
right.
bit. You probably don't get the cool 7-Eleven schmuck to wear.
Right.
So
that's really rad.
I want to jump right into this rustic tomato sauce, a chili sauce. I mean, it's all different kinds of sauces, really. You have it labeled as a chili sauce, but you can really use it.
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of sauce. I don't know. What exactly is chili sauce? I guess.
I don't know. What is chili? Is it a cooking sauce or is it? Do you dip chips in it?
That's what's kind of interesting. So I grew up with it, with chili sauce. We'd put it on pot roast on Sunday dinners.
Sure.
And that's what I knew. And we loved it. And so I grew up knowing what chili sauce was. When we've been at the farmer's market and people see chili sauce and they say, my mom made chili sauce or my grandma made chili sauce. And I said, well, taste this. Is it just like theirs? And most of them will say, yeah, that's just like theirs. And so I never knew anything different than chili sauce.
Sure. Well, no, it's great. Yeah.
But, some people, when people are looking, I think the chili kind of scares some people. They think it's hot.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about flavors than that. But so I'm kind of honestly trying to wonder if we keep a chili sauce line with something, but then we expand and do something more mainstream to help people understand what the product is. Because you can use it on anything.
Well, and that's what I wonder. Like maybe even just label it, Utahns, we know what salsa is, right? You know what I mean? We're a little bland and a little like,
or for people like me, chili sauce. Don't worry, it's not spicy.
Yeah, well,
that could be your tagline.
Because you're not a spicy person, and that's. I mean, just to give people even a little bit of history, and we'll probably say this in the introduction, but you and I met at the Downtown Farmers Market, which is my all-time favorite market.
Right.
Always disappointed when it comes to an end. The winter market is nice, but it's not the same.
It's not.
And that's when we met, and you're like, we're going to try this on the chips. I'm like, what is your hottest one that you have? And you had a pretty hot one.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too, I enjoyed it. I bought a bottle of it, and I'm like, we got to get you on the podcast, Jason. And here we are today. How long has this been around?
So we started last year in 2016, and kind of started where one night actually what had happened was our friends wanted the recipe. And we got so many times that people wanted. I said, to my wife, I said, hey, what if we were to look at maybe producing this and selling it? And so we started thinking about it. I laid in bed one night, and I was calculating the cost of and how much energy is in a BTU, propane BTU. So then I can dial it down, figure out costs, and then figure out if it's even worth it.
To make it. To package it.
Right. And I had no clue what costs were, but I thought it was a bottle. It's going to cost this much for ingredients and whatever. So I came to find out thinking, it might be doable. Mm-hmm. And so that was about February. So from about February until about April, May, I did so much due diligence and just researched, and we did some testing, and so we were in the kitchen back and forth and tweaking it and making it just right. And then we took Grandma's recipe, and that's where we added the other 3 flavors, and so we kind of tweaked that some more. And by June, we had our first one on the shelf.
By 2017.
By 2016.
2016.
Let's see, 4 months later.
Okay.
So we were just in overdrive to get that on the shelf. And so we got on the shelf in some stores, worked it out to a couple other stores, and just been branching. So we're about a year and a couple months old.
Now, how did you get it into stores so quickly? I mean, and even your labeling is. I mean, this is a beautiful packaging.
It's gorgeous design.
Because you have a full-time job, right?
Right.
Does your wife have a full-time job?
We have with the kids, but mainly this is my venture.
But where did you find the time to do all this?
That's what I kind of ask myself, because it was the fast lane, and people are kind of that's the same thing. 2017, and no, it was a few months. I think what it was what I had to do is I knew I had to research. I knew I needed to find out what this is going to encompass. So, I brought my book, and it's got all of my secret treasures in there, from researching the containers to the FDA to working on labels to figuring out, what requirements are on the nutritional label to figuring out what's going to be in the ingredients and tasting right. Then we had to figure out, hey, are we going to co-pack this or make this on our own, or how are we going to do it? And then open up the whole world of grocery stores.
But how did you know any of this? Have you worked with food at all? Do you have a mentor? Because I wouldn't know where to go.
It's a lot of stuff to figure out, and to have it done, start, and then within 4 months have figured all that out and have a product on a shelf. I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone doing it that quickly.
No, no mentor. What it was I guess a passion. Being in the military, you're kind of in this bureaucratic bubble, and I love the business side of things. And so I think it was some passion with that and wanting to get it out there. So how did I know? It was almost like a rabbit hole where you would go down and you just keep on going and going and going and find new things. And then the mentors would kind of be the people that you would work with. And so, I really, my hat's off to people like at the FDA, or people like the farmers markets and some of those ones who would kind of lead me into it. And then I would get contacts and try this label company out, or try this designer out. And so it just led from one thing to another. And luckily, I never looked back at all.
It seems like it's been pretty successful with it. I mean, I'm sure you're obviously not buying Lamborghinis with it, and you know what I mean.
Right.
But I'm sure you hit a lot of brick walls, right?
Yeah,
during
were
the
some
process.
Challenges.
But what kept you going? Like a lot of people, they might start something, they try, and they're like, well, I tried, it didn't really work.
Right.
But there's got to be something that's kept you going.
I think it was those people that motivated me to not become one of them.
Sure.
And at the same time, I didn't want to quit. I wanted to push forward. When you invest your time, you invest some money, you invest effort into it, and I wanted to see it come to pass. And then the other thing too is when we were at the farmers market and we had it out there this last year, our first one.
The one I met you at.
Last year, 2016.
Okay, yeah.
We had a lady come up and she goes, "Oh, my mom used to make chili sauce," and so she starts tasting it. She tastes the mild one, and I start welling up, and I'm like, "That's not the spicy one. You okay?" And she goes, "No." She goes, "I never thought I would taste my mom's chili sauce again, and she's not around, and I don't have a recipe." And she starts, just tears start coming down.
Wow.
And I thought, that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because food has emotion with it. Food brings back memories. And this is an opportunity to bring people together and have a little enjoyment and memories in life. And so that then rejuvenated the reason and the goal and the purpose for why I do this. And that's kept me going all through this year.
So you did both last summer and this summer's farmers market at Pioneer Park. Are you doing the winter market at all?
Yeah.
And so the winter market down at Rio Grande.
Mm-hmm. So we did last year's summer and winter first time, and then we did this year was the second season of the summer, and then we're hitting the winter market, which just started up.
If I remember correctly, you said you can even get these in Harmon's?
Harmon's and a few other stores like Peterson's and the store up in Holiday, and then we got it up in Park City at the market. We just recently launched in July or August into Sprouts here in Utah.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And then Amazon and online.
I would like to believe you're not making these in your kitchen at home, right? You have like a commercial space or what?
Well, and if any of the regulators
are
listening, we're not making it at home.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, you're making. I mean, all those. You must be making a lot of bottles of this, or not really?
Well, so we started out at a commercial kitchen, and it's all regulation and getting your license and that stuff. But then I recognized that we went with the contract packaging. It's called a co-packer, and so we'll basically contract with them, and they've got the big kettles, they've got all of the infrastructure, and so we'll work with them, and they'll bottle it, make it, and get it ready to go for us. And we make in one run, we'll do about 4 different flavors, and we make maybe about 1,000 bottles a run.
Wow! Talk about the 4 flavors you have. What are they?
So Grandma's Original is the sweet and savory. And
this one.
That's the one.
This is the one I want to try.
That's the one you liked, right? And so then we moved into a couple different spices. And I know the heat market is kind of up and coming and going really well. So we did one that's called Sweet Heat. It's got an Urfa Biber pepper and a couple others like a jalapeno and serrano and that, but a very mild one. And then we've got a chipotle. We call it smoky chipotle. And then we've got our habanero heat. And that one I like to say it has a smooth warmth. The habanero scares people, but it retains its flavor and it has that warmth behind it and something that's really pleasant. And then we just rolled out a new one, which I was working on because there were quite a few people that said they want some hot stuff.
Yeah, that's the one that I tried.
That's one you tried.
And I bought.
And that one has some Reaper and some Ghost and some Scorpion peppers in it, so some super hots in addition to habanero. So we really kicked it up pretty high on that one. And but the key was to keep the flavor, not make it painful and burn your face off, but make it something that's enjoyable, has some strong kick behind it, but retains that rustic tomato chili sauce behind it.
Have you always?
Me hungry.
I know, right? Yum. Have you always had a knack for cooking or flavors? I mean, is it a love that you've had your whole life?
It's grandma.
Well, yeah, but I mean, my grandma makes great food, and that doesn't mean I can. I've tried, trust me.
Where's grandma? Is grandma from Utah?
She's she was from Utah, and you know what? We don't know. This went 4 generations back. So I talked to my grandma, my mom's mom, who I'd help my mom can it, and she said it's 4 generations back. It's kind of where we can trace it to. I've done some research, and I don't know where chili sauce came from.
Yeah,
we came from Sweden, and so I could have came from there. Could have came with the pioneers over as they bottled things and that, but I don't know where it came from. So it's just something I grew up doing.
Now, is this your first entrepreneur endeavor? Like, have you been like the type of person that's tried to kind of start little side businesses, or is this the first time you've ever done something like this?
Yeah, I've tried to.
Okay.
This is the first one that I kind of took that leap over the other edge, and it actually kind of happened. The other ones have been all in the ideas or research and folders and all of that information. But this is the first one that I remember to my wife, I said, "Are we going to do this or not? Because if we are, we're going." And that's why I said we never looked back. So yeah, this is the first one that's really kind of taken off and that we're kind of moving forward with.
You going to take this to Shark Tank, you think? Maybe?
People have said that, and it's funny because
I love Shark Tank.
we like watching it too. And it's funny because I can't watch it anymore because I tell them, I'm like, we could be doing that. We could be doing that.
Yeah.
But the key with Shark Tank is it's not getting on Shark Tank in that day. It's the next day and fulfilling the 30,000 orders.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because you're going to get hit. Your
Right.
website's going to get hit.
Right.
Even if, yeah, exactly.
And then what we want to do is try to be smart. So we haven't grown crazy. I got the full-time job, so we're trying to keep it under control and grow smart in that. And so if I could get it out into the different states and that Shark Tank's kind of influential in, that way people can kind of go back to the store and get it when they run out instead of having to just keep ordering it or whatever. So we kind of want to bring it to the people as well. And I think we'll hit the Shark Tank idea. What I'd really like to do, and we may talk about some goals, but I'd like to get the food service side of things going and into the restaurants and that. And so the $1 billion buyer might be something that might be kind of fun.
Are you ready for the 30,000 sales after this podcast goes up? I mean,
Yeah, right.
Forget about Shark.
3,000,
Right?
you mean 300,000.
Yeah, you don't know I Am Salt Lake listeners here, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad I stocked up.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, yeah.
It's cool how you're preparing for opportunity so that when it comes, you're just like, okay, here it is. Not many people do that.
Yeah.
That's that takes a lot of foresight.
We've had opportunity to get in some other stores as well, and we're working with them. We got great relationships. These would open up, probably about 40 more in Utah, and then regionally, you're looking around 400. But we haven't pulled that trigger yet, just because we need to get the brand out. We need to get people understanding what it is, and we need to get some of the stigma, either chili and hot or some of that going. And it's starting to roll. We're seeing some momentum. We're seeing the repeat stuff. So when we can do that, now we'll be successful on the store shelf instead of letting it sit there and need to pull it because nobody notices it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get the brand recognition, trying to move forward, and I'm excited. I'm kind of starting to see it happen.
That's so great. What was your wife's initial reaction when you told her, I want to make chili sauce?
Well, so she never knew what chili sauce was growing up.
Okay.
And so I busted out a bottle from, and it's funny because my mom said, Jason, you're eating all my chili sauce. Go make your own. You're not getting any more of mine. She kicked me out of the chili sauce house.
Aww.
So my wife, we opened up one of them and I said, hey, try this on I think it was probably roast beef. And I said, try this on this. And she's like, huh? And tried it, and she's never looked back. She loves it.
Wow.
And so when I told her, hey, we're going to do this, she enjoyed and liked it and was good. She's not really into the business side of things, but she was very supportive.
That's so great.
And she's, helped me at the farmer's market. She's done delivery stuff. And when we did our very first run to get ready for Harmon's, I mean, I started early in the morning, and we were at a kitchen, and we ran until 1 or 2 in the morning, the next morning, just sweating and hard work and everything. And she was right there with me. So
I love it.
Do you guys have kids?
Mm-hmm.
Do you pull them in and tell them to get to work?
It's funny. We have a 6-year-old.
Oh,
and our little one, and he is. I wish I could have him at 18 during the farmers markets, and then pull him back to be 6 years old every other moment.
So that he still loves you and doesn't sass back.
Right.
Yeah.
But he is a fantastic salesman. He's got more tips than I have.
I love
the
it.
farmers market. Yeah.
I think if you get him to work at the farmer's market, that's a huge. I would totally buy anything from a cute little 6-year-old.
Oh man, yeah, blonde hair, cute little smile, and he's my buddy as we get out and sell. And then we've got a 15-year-old that we're working on what the word work is, and but he gets out there and helps out too.
Let's take a quick break. We got to play a message here from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back. We still got a handful of questions we got to ask you, Jason. So we'll be right back. This episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information. What do you know now that you wished you would have known when you started this whole journey?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I loved the journey.
Well, that makes part of the adventure, I would imagine.
So it's kind of like open up your presents on Christmas Eve or then the 23rd and not having it for Christmas and then knowing what you're... So the journey was half of the enjoyment. What would I have liked to have known? I probably would have liked to have known maybe I could get a mentor. Maybe I could get somebody else that might be able to help me out in some ways and poise that just so I could be even more successful.
Sure.
Maybe something like that. But in the end, even the bumps and even some of the challenges with it, I think in anything in life, that just made me stronger.
When you could still get a mentor, right? Take you to that next level. I mean, where would you like to see? I mean, worldwide, nationwide? I mean, where would you like to see all of this go?
Yeah. I mean, sky's the limit, I think. I love the local side of things. I love, we're part of Utah's Own and being in the farmer's market and doing that. And I think we'll always stay. We'll always keep Draper, Utah,
of course,
on our logo with that and being part of Utah. But I would love to get it out there even further. And, we had some great gals that came by the farmer's market. They were from Germany and they loved it and talked about it. So we talked a little bit about German cuisine and some of those things in food. So I would love to get it nationwide. I'd love to get into the food service side of things, and I think putting it into recipes, getting it onto restaurant tables would be very beneficial, and that would also help on the business side because of it's a cutthroat market on the grocery store industry, and so the ability for us to be able to do that would push volume, push product, allow us to be able to get in the mouths of more people, and then by doing that, our brand would hopefully expand more, and we could start rolling that way.
Yeah, that would create a lot of brand recognition for you. Did you ever study marketing? Or, I mean, how are
He's
you?
He's a pilot. He's an airline.
I know,
he's a gas station.
How are you so advanced in these marketing tactics? I mean,
I did business admin because I wanted a little bit of everything. And so learned a little bit there. But, I'll be the first to admit I would need help marketing. I'm not very good. I'm like social media inept. And so thank goodness for the internet. Thank goodness for books. And so you read up, you pick up on some things, you listen to podcasts like you guys or some other things like that, and you pick up just little nuances or little ideas. And so really... And then I just kind of think common sense. What would I do? Where would I like to see this? How would I notice this stuff? And I ask people too, hey, how would you do this? When we were rolling out our new one, the Blazing Hot, we did a contest for, hey, what would you name this? And so we got the people's feedback. We would do focus groups in our neighbors and say, hey, how's this taste? And, friends and that. And so I'm one to try to find out and look with that. And I think I've always been that way.
Yeah.
Got to turn to your audience, really.
Yeah, if you're ever up for a job, I think you missed your calling as a UX researcher because holy crap, that's amazing. I mean, that's amazing. That's a great skill that you have that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, see, and I wouldn't think of that. I wouldn't think of like, well, gosh, let's just ask the people in my own backyard.
Right.
What they think of this.
User research, man.
I mean, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, and that's what I even hope to kind of with these episodes of the podcast, like you say, one or two things, and that's why, I'll ask you like, hey, what do you wish you would have known? And then like maybe people that are wanting to start a business here in Salt Lake, or, we have a lot of listeners outside of Salt Lake even,
Right.
Maybe they can learn something from you, Jason. Well, on that note, I mean, what would you tell somebody who wanted to start a business? Is there something you would tell them?
I would say go for it.
Yeah.
But, I'd say go for it. But I would say make sure that you're thinking through it. Make sure that you've got some of the angles covered. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself not being prepared. It spiraled down. You'll get frustrated and you might kick it to the curb. And in the end, we all hear the story of Edison and the light bulb and, how many times did he fail? And so maybe failure's not a bad thing, but I'd say go for it. And for me, research, find out all you can, learn about it, understand the industry, and just get to know it. And probably a good portion of it is when you don't know it, fake it, and you'll learn it.
Yep.
So
I'm down with that.
What's been the least rewarding thing? Like what has just been like, I don't know. I guess that would be a fair question.
Yeah, I mean, what's been the most challenging thing that makes you want to throw the towel in?
I think probably dealing with and negotiating, working on the grocery side of things with distributors and brokers and things. It's a complex system, and there's many buzzwords and there's many components to, how you sell to a store, and then how the distributor sells and the cut that they take, and then the chargebacks and when it goes on sale, and then they have different mechanisms, and so it's like depending on how they move the denominator and numerator, you could get burnt really bad. And it's a cutthroat market, so I don't think many of them would really care. And that's been the frustrating thing because, I'm try to be honest. I try to do the business, and I want to do something for the small business in America and the American dream. And then to have the bigger companies or these bigger people that are willing to do that gets frustrating for me. So I'm almost on a mission to try to get big enough to recognize the roots I came from and lift those people up as well. Because sometimes the little guy needs a little bit of help.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you mentioned people can get it on Amazon. Would that be the best place? Like, again, we have a lot of listeners outside of Utah that might not have an opportunity to come to the downtown farmers market or hit up a Harmon's. Would you tell them to just go to the Amazon your Amazon store?
Yeah, Amazon or our website.
Can you buy it directly from your website?
Mm-hmm.
We'll mention it at the end, but what is your website here? It's
rustictomato.com.
Okay, excellent. I was going to say, I'll let you say your website, even though I'm looking right at it. But and I'll put that link at iamsaltlake.com with this episode links and show notes and whatnot. Like I said, we have a lot of listeners outside of Utah, and I'd love them to try.
And we're just working on going prime as well.
Okay.
So I think that will be good. And
Chrissy loves the prime.
I love the prime.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
do you also, and I should have checked your website, but do you guys also sell swag? Because the hat you were wearing when we met you was so cool.
What was the hat? I can't even remember.
It was a
now.
Rustic Tomato hat. And I was like, oh my gosh, that logo is so awesome.
I love my hat. And that's kind of why we did the logo.
I want a hat now.
I know, me too.
So we got some shirts, we got the hat, I think, and I've had a couple people comment. And so what I'm planning on doing is doing an order of some hats, some really cool hats, probably a couple cool things with the shirts. And I think what we want to take is that tomato that's in the center there, and that will probably be one of our key figures that we do things like maybe we'll stick that on a sleeve or do something unique with that tomato that just kind of also builds the brand.
Little icon.
A little icon.
This guy knows what he's doing.
I know.
So,
You should
teacher?
teach classes on this.
Seriously.
I mean, honestly, I'm sure people you were mentioning at farmers market, they've been helpful to you. Hopefully you can return that favor, right? For the next person coming up. That wants to start their own thing. Cause it's scary.
Well, and there's so many bits and pieces and intricacies that people don't think about. They just want to make their stuff.
Right.
So it's nice to see someone who's thought it through and can actually pass on that knowledge.
We've talked with a few different people as well and kind of given them some ideas and also the some of the roadblocks or speed bumps to include, hey, make sure that you're talking with the Department of Agriculture and here's the name for it or some of these other parts of it. And it's been rewarding. It's been fun to hear that. And then they call back and say, hey, we did this, we got this, thanks so much. And then now they're moving forward with some things. And so that pay it forward, I think that could be really, very real.
Yeah.
So, but, we started to think about doing a Kickstarter. And I didn't understand that stuff, so I read a bunch about that. And again, that really ties into a lot of social media if you want to be successful and do it right. I wasn't ready for that, so I kind of pulled back on there. But we were getting ready to do swag with the shirts and the stickers and some of these other things for the rewards. But we pulled back a little bit about that. So that's always in the future, too, that we might do something there.
I always like to find out about people that we bring on, like other stuff that they are interested in, right? What makes them tick? What are some other hobbies and interests when you're not putting your tomato sauce, chili sauce in bottles? What else does Jason do with his time?
So I love living in Utah. Being in the military, I've traveled all over the place and then done some different classes outside of Utah. So Texas is probably the second home with that. And then so we love mountain biking. We love the hiking and just kind of being out in the outdoors. And then grew up playing sports. So taking the kids out hiking and camping and getting outside doing that. And then just kind of, we've started into some Spartan races. And, did those
Didn't
last
you do that?
2 years.
Didn't you do a Spartan race, Chrissy?
I did do a Spartan race. Well, so my
She died halfway through.
I did die halfway through it. We did a team thing. I work at a small startup. Well, it's not small anymore, but it was when I started there. And our little team of us, like 5, we're all, let's do this. Let's do the Spartan race. So
And
we did it.
You said yes. Why?
And of course I said yes,
Right.
because I was the only girl and I had to prove that I could be cool too, right? And I
Nice
could do it
work.
too. But yeah, it didn't really work out very well. And one of the programmers I was doing it with ended up carrying me through a few of
It sounds intense.
It's so intense.
I think we all need to be carried sometimes.
he carried me
my.
through some things,
Right.
and then he helped me sneak out.
Where was this at?
It was here in Utah.
Okay.
It was in 2000. I want to say 2014.
So probably Soldier Hollow.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So good for you.
Let me know when the next one is, Jason. I'd like to do it with you.
Okay, let's do it. We're
I'd
planning
like
it.
to watch
I love it.
that.
We'll plan it and talk offline.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. If you could learn one random skill, what would it be? Like, is there like a one of those things that you're like, gosh, that would be really cool to do it, but you just haven't done it yet?
Yeah, and I was listening to one of your podcasts. If I could learn one random skill, it would be probably to learn how to play the guitar.
I love it.
Trying to get my right hand and left hand to talk is going to be tough. So I've got a guitar. I keep telling my wife, I'd love to play the guitar, and it would be hinting to get a guitar. So now I got the guitar, and I still say, it'd be great to play the guitar. And she goes, you have a guitar. Why don't you know how to play yet? And so that I think that because I just think there's something awesome again with creating,
Sure,
and just blending that melody and doing some of that.
Do you play any musical instruments right now?
No. I played the clarinet, and I think I can do whatever it is on the piano.
Hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns.
Oh yeah,
cross
it's a good song. I'm telling you.
Right.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, past, present, who would it be and why?
That's that's always a golden question with it. I'm thinking. So I got turned on to Tim Ferriss.
Oh yeah, I love Tim Ferriss.
And I would probably look at Tim Ferriss just because of the connections he has. And that's, of course, if you guys weren't available.
Well, thank you. Right, right
so
next to Tim Ferriss.
Tim would be second choice. And I think because I got his book, Tools of Titans, and I've recommended that a few times. And so I would love to pick his brain and talk some more and hopefully become friends.
Is that a pretty good book, Tools of Titans?
I think it's a great book.
I started reading the 4-Hour Work Week a while back, and then I put it to the side. I can't remember where I left off, so I'm just starting over with it again.
Right.
But I mean, that's a great book so far. I don't know. And I love his
I need to
podcast. Do
read
you
it.
listen to his podcast at all? It's a great podcast.
Right, yeah.
I love all the stuff he does.
You know that, and you listen to Jocko Willink a little bit, and
Yeah.
reading some of his books and that. But Tools of Titans, it's just that book where it's got all of these individuals, so it's not a read from cover to cover. It's a reference book.
Okay.
And Chrissy, you mentioned, how do I learn some of this stuff? Some of it was turning to Tools of Titans in some ways, and everything from meditation or how to Start Your Day from Tony Robbins or these other guys, or they have a thing, How to Crack Kickstarter. And so that's where I read that and I thought, I'm not ready for this yet. So I learned through some of those things on how to do better. And then I just kind of gave my own flair and spin to it and took off.
Wow. That's brilliant that you are absorbing everything and then realizing what you can actually attack, what's realistic to attack right now. And that's, wow.
Thanks.
Great.
Yeah.
Great job.
If money was no object, what would you do all day?
What would I do all day? I would probably still do this.
Make chili sauce.
I'd probably make the chili sauce. I would probably continue, serving in the military and finishing that up. But I would want to do some things that would give back to those guys and the people that I work with. And then I would kind of philanthropic and travel, figure ways that to help the underdog. A lot of times we have things for way underprivileged, and a lot of times we have things for those that can't really find anything. I'd want to almost hit the middleman, the middle kid, the kid that's just right on the edge of making too much money, the kid that's just right on the edge of succeeding and doing stuff, but has something that he just can't get, but he's not extremely poor. And I think that hitting some of those ones I would probably like to hit as well, and help out some of those guys.
Most memorable concert or sporting event? Is there one or something that you've been to? If not, totally cool.
So I went to U2 when they were here. This was back in like 2000, or was it like I don't think it was 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And up at the U of U Stadium.
I could imagine that'd be a fantastic show.
Fun show. First time I'd really seen them. And I remember it mostly because I'd been working some graveyards. And so I think I was up on 48 hours, no sleep, something like that. And so this was the last thing before I slept it all off. And that was an awesome concert, kind of being halfway delirious.
Sure. Sure. You're just kind of, you're like, am I floating? Am I standing? Does somebody have another Red Bull for me?
Yeah, right. You would have thought it was a dead or something, but no, it was
man.
U2.
Let's talk a little bit about Salt Lake City, right? I always bring it up, especially if you've listened to the podcast. I was going to ask this. If somebody was visiting Salt Lake City, right, they're coming this upcoming weekend or a weekend coming up, what would you tell them to do, to check out? How would you tell them to spend their days here?
Good question. And we do that. We have people come in and visitors. And so I usually hit them up to Park City. Show them that, and both for the Olympic side of things, and then just the town itself, and then probably Temple Square, downtown area.
Got to get the history
there, the history side of things, and then I would probably get them into some of the mountain, maybe if they want to do a hike or the Great Salt Lake, even just some of these things that Utah might be known for, and then I'd probably get them into some little gem things, some of these either backdoor restaurants or some of these side things that you're not going to get anywhere else. And,
would you tell them to come check out at farmers markets? So they can come check out your...
if it was the summertime or in the winter. I mean, to have them come down to the Rio Grande building in the wintertime, though, that's an awesome building.
Yeah, well, it is.
Have them come by for
the
half an hour.
old train station.
I think they love it.
Yeah.
I love that place.
What are some of your favorite local eating spots? You were mentioning little gems and stuff.
Right. That's a good question. And, I love cooking too.
Sure.
And so getting out there,
one place, even if there's one place. That
recently, we just went out to Zao.
Okay.
And good spot there.
Love them.
So I'd probably that's right off the top of my.
Sure.
But we hit. We love to splurge sometimes. We'll head up to Fleming's.
Okay.
And get a good steak with that. Or
who doesn't like a good steak, right?
So but quite a few good places.
What would you change about Salt Lake City if you could change anything? Is there anything you would change?
I would change, I think we're spoiled compared to California with traffic, but I would try to figure out ways to better the traffic pattern.
It definitely could use help. I mean, we need more than just that I-15 going through.
Oh, and Draper, you're in the Draper area?
Yeah.
What they've been doing recently, it's so confusing. Well, because I work in Draper, and I get lost sometimes trying to get out of work.
Well, and you can't make the left-hand turn on 123rd. So,
or on Bangerter anymore. They blocked off Bangerter, so you can't get out.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, man.
When they say that the state icon is the orange construction cone.
They're not kidding.
They're not kidding.
No.
Why we need to change
job security,
Do you think they're just bored? So they're like, let's just get a creative way to make some crazy roads so people will complain. So we have to rip them up again and redo them.
I don't know.
Maybe they're just really bored.
But what's crazy about all of it is everyone complained that traffic is so bad downtown. But I don't even think it's that bad downtown anymore.
It's not. The traffic's bad down
horrible
south.
on the south end. You know, Draper and Sandy and
and everybody's got their challenges in every city and that.
Right.
And,
I know.
And there's so much growth here that I think it just hit fast and hard.
Yeah.
There's so many more people all of a sudden.
Well, remember when I did I-15 back with the Olympics, and they said by the time they got done with it, it was going to be outdated.
Yeah.
You know? And
I still remember when it was just like the 2 lanes, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And then I was just moving back from the East Coast, and I remember, they made it wide, and then they added the barrier, whatever you call those walls.
Right.
What I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Because those weren't always there either.
The sound reduction walls kind of thing.
Those weren't always there.
When I was in Texas, and this is this is in the Dallas area, but they've got some of these side roads that parallel the freeway, and they seem to just have a great way to get on and off and parallel it. And so I don't know. I think maybe we can come up with some solutions here. And I don't know. Does the governor listen to your podcast? Maybe.
I
totally.
I have a picture with the governor. I did a project a while back with that related to the podcast. So it'd be cool if he did listen to it.
That would be cool.
I don't know, but I've always wondered that myself. Like, what would we do?
Yeah,
because I hate to see this area in another 10 years. I want it to grow just like the next person. I think we need the continual.
Yeah, I mean, growth is great.
However,
we have to grow
the air
the right way,
the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, we have good public transportation, but I still think it could be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and even housing.
Maybe we're just hitting growing pains,
Yeah. And it's a gem, that people are starting to recognize now.
Yeah, which is
but
good and
again,
bad,
more people moving here is even better for business for you.
You know what? So maybe what I would change is, everybody getting a bottle of Rustic Tomato in their pantry.
Hey, you know what? Christmas is right around. These would make a good stocking stuffer.
These make great stocking
stuffers. They're the perfect size.
Right.
Just stick it right in there.
Put that on anything for your Christmas dinner, or just eat it out of the jar. And we have friends and we said, what's your family think? They said, I don't tell my family. I put it in the back of the refrigerator and don't let them know it's there.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, it's great.
Don't eat my chili sauce.
I think, I mean, this stuff is gold. I mean, I'm excited for it. Let's run down the list. How can people, your website, just rustictomato.com. Mm-hmm. I guess that's the best place for people to go.
And then we got some links to the social media, but to, Rustic Tomato, Facebook, Rustic Tomato chili sauce with the Instagram. And again, I'm working on that stuff. But Rustic Tomato is the best option for that. But then come down and, we do samplings at Harmon's. We do samplings at the different stores, and then also the farmers markets. And we love talking to people. We love sampling it. And I love seeing people's eyes light up once they taste it.
And there's a way for people to contact you on your website, mm-hmm. right? Your email you or contact you.
The contact page at the very bottom that comes straight to me, and a great way to get hold of us. And I think on the bottles our phone number, but website.
Oh yeah, you got a phone. Is that your cell phone number?
That's a good contact number. Yeah,
that's a good contact. I was going to say that's
a number that's going to have to disappear when you start to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
after this podcast, right?
Yeah, after this no,
absolutely.
Well, seriously, if I can't urge the listeners enough, seek him out. Come up to Jason at farmers market and say, hey, you heard him on I Am Salt Lake.
Oh, you know what we got to do?
What?
We got to take one of these and put it in the crock pot with a bunch of chicken.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be good.
On our website, we got some recipes as well.
Okay.
And so we're putting those up there. And I'll just tell you real quick, we came up with something where we French toasted some jalapeno cheddar bread. Put in the egg, French toasted it like you do French toast with syrup. And then we kind of cut it up, threw some cream cheese on that, and threw the rustic tomato on top. And it was like the best appetizer. Wow. It was fantastic. So, I mean, these ideas and these different things we're doing with it. So we got more recipes coming. We got more ideas coming with it. It's all natural. We don't put any additives, preservatives, and, so vegetarian. And we try to source good source stuff and just kind of make it local and something we can be proud of.
We definitely can be proud of it. I love it. It's delicious. I wouldn't have brought you on the podcast if I didn't like it. But anything else you want to ask him before we let him go, Chrissy?
That's always such a hard question.
Well, no, I didn't know if there was something you wanted to bring up before we stop the record. Or is there anything, Jason, that you want to bring up that we didn't mention? Any of this that you wanted to make
first
sure?
Off, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. No, absolutely.
And stuff like that. But no, we just we're excited for it, and we'd love to hear the people that say they've heard it on the podcast or just come up and say hello.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jason. We'll end it there. I always tell people, let's catch up down the road.
Yes.
All right. Many thanks again to Jason Moffat for coming on this episode and sharing his story, sharing the story of Rustic Tomato. You can find all the links and ways to connect with him at iamsaltlake.com/308.
Let him know you heard him on I Am Salt Lake.
Yeah, let him know. Maybe he'll give you a high five or something special or who knows, but connect with Rustic Tomato, connect with Jason, go to Harmon's. Like he said, you can pick it up at Harmon's. Go pick up a jar of this chili sauce. Try it with some tortilla chips.
You like the hot stuff. I like the original.
I like it all, Chrissy.
Well, yeah, you like it all.
Just the other night, we had the original, like the sweet stuff with my mom, and we about inhaled that whole jar
totally did.
in one sitting, and she went nuts over it as well.
I regret nothing.
Yeah, so pick up a bottle of this stuff. I want to talk about Skillshare.com. I actually found this website about a month ago. It's a really great resource. They're like YouTube videos of classes, everything from photography to marketing to technology, taught by experts. And this is a really good thing, especially for people here in Salt Lake City that want to start their own businesses. They want to become better photographers. They want to become better marketers. Go to Skillshare.com and check this out. We have a special thing, though, for I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners. Skillshare is normally $10, but for being a listener of this podcast, you can try it out for a month for free by going to iamsaltlake.com/skill. Again, that's iamsaltlake.com/skill. This will give you a free month, no cost to you. Try it out. Watch some of these videos. Learn from the experts, people like even myself who want to teach people how to podcast, how to be a better photographer, how to be a better social media person.
Yeah, and when people ask me how to learn Photoshop or Illustrator or design a website, just go there. It's free. You can have a month of free information on it.
Just go to iamsaltlake.com/skill and grab yourself a free month at Skillshare. Let's talk about Jed's Barbershop, though. Jed's is a very proud sponsor of the podcast. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. Their newest 3rd location is opened up. It's located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointments necessary. Just show up, get a haircut, get a beard trim, whatever you need, especially with the holidays.
And their gift cards make a good stocking stuffer.
Oh my gosh, you got time.
I may have gotten a few.
Yeah. So no appointments necessary. And if you need to, head on over to their website, jedsbarbershop.com for more information. Hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. This week, we want to challenge you to leave a review for the podcast in iTunes. This helps boost our ratings. It gets the podcast exposed to more people, and it only takes you a second. Plus, we love to know what you have to say about the show.
But I only like to know good stuff you have to say about the show.
Hell yeah, good stuff is always good, right?
It is good.
Hey, you guys have a great week. Get out and enjoy the city. Enjoy a glass of hot chocolate, and happy holidays.
Good night, Grammy.